Hello, Mark here. I'm here at, over there is actually the House Trail. Trailhead. One day I might try and do that. I know that one of the more famous Alberta YouTube videos is Marty up north trying to do that trail. I think mostly because it was included in like some articles. And then there was a link to one of his videos, and that was the one. It's also a pretty interesting video. But today, there's low cloud. It's been raining. It's actually starting to get blue sky now that I've driven, hour and a half south of Jasper. And I'm doing trails that aren't elevation trails because I'd rather keep those for sunny days. And trails that don't interest me a whole lot. So basically trails to lakes. So I'm going to go and do Warden Lake. Apparently the trailhead is, so I'm across from the Warden station there. And trailhead is 100 meters south. And it goes through Spreading Creek wildfire. And you can see up there. Yes, indeed, that was a huge wildfire at one point. So, let's see if it's interesting. Yeah, true to their word, here we are. I'm interested to see what's on the other side of this. It looks kind of different. Or is it just more of the same? Oh, I see. Just a more recent sign. Okay, so like I said, this trail goes through the old, it's a forest fire from a few years ago. You think a forest fire would be fine, good for a trail and the maintenance and such because it removes all the trees. Well, no, what happens is for the next 10 years, after a forest fire, there's trees falling onto the trail left, right, and center. Forest fire doesn't really clear the trees out. It just burns them up, leaves them standing, and then they fall over left and right. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Apparently this trail is a lot tougher than it once was, so. Another sign. Signs are awesome, especially the old kind. Big difference between this warden cabin and a whole lot of others I've seen is that the corral is clearly still being maintained and used. There are some horses being used by the wardens out in the backcountry. It's just nowhere near what it used to be. I mean, in the old days, the wardens would be out there for like 22 days at a time with 3 horses each. 1 for riding, 2 for packing. So, and they all had corrals. Well, no, that's not true. They didn't all have corrals. But some of them did. The other ones, they had to hobble the horses and let them loose and then go find them in the morning. When you're driving along the Icefields Parkway, especially when you go through some Wapta Pass, these views become a little bit of ho-hum. But still nice views anyway. I have lived a short drive or even steps away from the North Saskatchewan my whole life. Let me tell you, it does not look this color when it gets to Edmonton, Alberta. It's very pretty. Quite fast here too. Forest fires are very funny things. You'd think they'd be very cut and dry, Fire, especially a huge fire, burns everything. But no, you've got clearly forest fire damage here, and then mere feet away, you've got a perfectly healthy tree. And it's been going like that the whole way. Completely, like tree that must have been a raging inferno when it burned up. And then a tree right beside it, it's fine. Just a few feet away, it's fine. This fire is only a few years old, so you can't tell me that these trees grew in the last few years, right? Look at that. Well, maybe this is just a dead one because the top of it's still going. The top is still alive. Funny things. Forest fires are crazy things, man. Wow. Yeah, they're funny things, like I think I was just saying in my previous video, but man, do they sweep the landscape. Part of nature, though. Part of the problem we're having right now in Canada, in British Columbia, for the last 2 years running, is big old wildfires. We've been trying to stop them for, what, 75 years we've been fighting fires. Now finally nature's pushing back. Climate is warming up. The pine beetle is making for for excellent firewood, because there's nothing worse than red spruce pine needles. Spruce pine. Red needles. They burn like a bastard. And yeah, it's finally got to the point where we can't stop it anymore. It's just happening. Oh my God, best sign ever. Warden Lake, 400 yards. Clearly survived the fire. Is it metal? Oh my, no, I don't want to hurt you. Yeah, you're metal. You're barely hanging on. Ah. I love old signs. They're so much more fun than the new brown tin or aluminum or whatever those are signs. So much more fun. Warden Lake, baby. I'm kidding. Warden Pond. Lake is farther. Okay, is this like an after fire plant? I don't think I've ever seen this before. Very pretty. Just this part here, there's a bunch. It's cool. And I've got to the lake. Still following, well, there's kind of a trail, but it's blocked. Trail down here. See if there's another awesome sign down here. Woo, signs. Or is it just gonna fizzle out? Could do that too. Comes over here. A little flattened out part on the grass. There we go, fizzle fizzle. A lot of times you will find signs indicating a lake, but there's several on this trail, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory when you come to a lake that's named after the trail. One thing about doing so much day hiking and backpacking is a lake becomes a lake becomes a lake. Unless it is just gorgeous, lakes start to look the same. But it is nice here, peaceful. There's kind of a creek heading out of the lake and going down to that little pond that was down there. If I was a fisherman, I'd probably care more. But it is neat to do a new trail. See something new. Lakes give you something to hike to. See ravaged countryside from fires. It's always kind of interesting, and that'd be some pretty nice views. It was a nice day, so hey, it's a short little 2.2 kilometers to come here. Obviously 2.2 back. I would classify this as a family hike. You have a beautiful day, you get a nice shot of the mountains. Why not? Bring the kidlets. There is the highway over there. Kind of climb a little hill after you do the pond. I'm starting to feel raindrops, and that sucks. One thing about this trail is online I saw warnings about it because of the wildfire. Now I assumed that meant that there'd be 50 trees I have to climb over. Well, you know what? I've had to climb over, like, not even climb. I've had to step over like 4 or 5 trees. Now, it's not very often I applaud the parks for their work, but in this case, there's obviously been a lot of chainsaw work after the fire, and they've kept it pretty clear. And the trees are basically down. You know, once the last few trees fall over and get cut, this trail will be in fantastic shape for a long time because it takes forever for the trees to come up. So, yeah. Good job, Parks. I'm often bashing on them, but it's not their fault. Their budgets have been cut severely, especially the backcountry ones, so yeah. Well, I have donned my raincoat. Even on a short little hike, you can get nailed. 2.2 kilometers out and then 2.2 back. What are we talking, an hour? I take my time, hour and a half at most. Yeah, nailed. It hasn't rained in, I don't know, 6 hours. But it is one of those days where it's just threatening and threatening and threatening. So, well, I'm not far from Saskatchewan crossing. I was thinking of doing another hike after this, but this is the same day as I did Panther Falls, by the way. I'll probably make a video out of that one. So I'll head up there, I'll have some supper, then I'll go to Rampart Creek where my tent is set up and settle in. Okay, well, it never really poured, but it's raining hard enough to have gotten my pants a little bit wet. I probably should have put on the rain pants. Not bad considering I wasn't expecting much. Bit of a soggy end, obviously, but that's not the trail's fault. But it was okay, decent stroll. I wasn't expecting anything, like I say, so when you just lower your expectations and enjoy the hike, you tend to have more fun. All right, have a good one. Get out there and hike.